You might not think of yourself as oily. I'm Italian, I think of myself as very oily. Welcome to Adams Polish's Leather 101. So what we're gonna do in this video, teach you how to deep clean leather, how to replenish the moisture in the leather, and then we're gonna teach you how to maintain the interior, maintain the leather so that it'll last a long time and won't shrink up on you or crack or look bad. So the very first step in a car like this, which has about 20,000 miles on it and probably not a single deep cleaning ever, is we're gonna go ahead and use the leather and interior cleaner. I'm gonna use a soft brush. It's kind of like a makeup brush when it's brand new. Very soft, very nice. And we're gonna wanna clean all the little areas that haven't been cleaned in a long time. The other tool that we're gonna use is a microfiber utility towel. Remember, you never wanna spray a cleaner onto the instrument cluster. You never wanna spray any sort of a cleaner onto a screen, onto your buttons on your dashboard, nothing like that. Always spray your cleaner into your towel, okay? Gonna blast this towel really well. And then starting with steering wheel. Now you're gonna notice that I'm gonna probably pull off a lot of nasty dirt and oils off your steering wheel. You're gonna wanna do a thorough cleaner in the inside of your car every 1,500 miles if you have children. If you have dogs and kids, you might just have the need to clean up even more often. As I'm cleaning the steering wheel, I wanna be very thoughtful about each of the buttons that are used the most. Remember, whatever you're touching all the time is why your towel is really dirty. The most touching is gonna be your steering wheel, your shifter, your driver's door handle, and then a lot around your stereo, okay? So make sure that when you're doing that, give extra time and attention to the parts of your car, like right here where your elbow sits all the time, your oily elbow. You might not think of yourself as oily. I'm Italian, I think of myself as very oily, but bottom line, it's very important to thoroughly clean with a little bit of extra effort all the areas that get touched the most. Is your dashboard leather or is your dashboard plastic or vinyl? You want to make sure and be thoughtful and delicate when you're cleaning a leather dashboard. This Jeep Trackhawk does have a full leather interior, including a leather dashboard. So I'm going to go ahead and blast off. Instead of blasting directly product onto the dash, I'm blasting it into the towel, and then I want to be thorough but delicate. I don't want to use a brush. I don't want to use anything aggressive that could scratch or harm the leather. Now, if you've gone through a car wash and they were so kind to put high gloss dressing on your dashboard, and you're like, oh no, that's the worst thing that ever could happen, right? So then you end up with all that slop on your dashboard. You might have to do it 2 or 3 times to remove that nasty silicone from your dash. You're gonna take a couple different rounds, all right? I'm gonna be very thorough about the screen. So if your interior is shiny because you bought a car that someone used some shiny stuff on it, well, you wanna remove it. If your shiny interior is a result of you making it shiny, I would suggest that you reconsider that, because basically what you're doing when you put silicones on your leather, what that does is it attracts quite a bit of dirt and makes it glossy. A shiny interior is definitely not a clean interior. You know, very few leathers these days are glossy. Now I've got inside of these drink holders, I've got some pretty nasty stuff. In the bottle of your drink holder in almost every car, there's a little piece that comes out that you can clean like with a pressure washer. So here's one little piece, isn't that nice? And I'm gonna go ahead and clean that, but I wanna blast this out a little bit with some cleaner and just make sure that I get this really thoroughly cleaned. But now to get the cleaner into the nooks and into the crannies, I'm gonna use the interior brush. Boy, oh boy, is that really nasty. While you're cleaning the car, that's the time to go ahead and move your car out of park into gear so that you can get the other parts of the shift boot all the way clean, okay? If you maintain your interior, this is not gonna be something that you do frequently, okay? However, maintaining moisture, which is Joe's gonna be talking about here in a second, that is something that you're definitely gonna want to consider doing more regularly. So I'm having some problems getting some of the crud out of these creases, and it's all around the shifter, it's around the leather, it's around the metal, and it's just not coming out with a brush. So I'm going to use our little pack of cleaning tools, and this one is sort of a sharp little cone, and it's not sharp like it's going to hurt anything, but it's nice and pointed, so I can get that right down. Oh yeah, right down into that little crevice, and I can bring up whatever nastiness is stuffed down inside of that crack so that I can have a nice clean shifter and my center console is nice and dialed in. That is a very effective way to remove crud from that. You'll see these swabs, larger swabs, so I wasn't able to get all of the vents clean, but now using these larger swabs, this is how I can get the deep sections of each one of these little tiny vents all the way clean. And they were not, I couldn't get the towel back in there at all. You're gonna see lots of dirt on this little guy because, boy, that really does the trick. Okay, so that's how we pulled dirt out of those little guys. At this point, I'm looking pretty dang good. I'm gonna go to cleaning a seat. When I clean a seat, I'm a little bit more aggressive with the spraying of the cleaner. And I'm gonna give it a pretty good blasting. Heavy cleaners also remove oils from your leather. If you can maintain your leather, maintain your interior so that you don't have to constantly use heavy cleaners, you're better. You're better off. You're way better, and your leather will last longer. If you don't see dirt, if you don't feel like your car has a considerable amount of dirt on the interior, I'm gonna have you move straight to the interior detailer, because that is an even gentler way to make your leather nice and clean. Okay, we've got this interior really clean now. At this point, it's clear. The leather is really dry. If your car has been sitting out in the sun and getting a lot of UV, there's a step that's very critical to maintaining your leather and keeping your car looking good for as long as you own it.
Now, when it comes to adding moisture to leather interior or leather surfaces, Adams Polishes has a couple options. We have a leather rejuvenation oil and we have a leather conditioner. Now, the leather conditioner you're gonna use more often. This is almost like using lotion on your skin. Now, the leather in this Trackhawk that Adam just finished cleaning, the moisture needs to be restored on this car. So we're gonna take the leather rejuvenation oil and this premium foam applicator, and a little bit goes a long way with this product. So you don't need to load this applicator up. Just gonna do a few drops in here, and I like to close the cap because if this tips over and gets onto your carpeted surfaces or anything else, it can not be good. So put it into the applicator, squeeze a little bit to distribute the oil evenly throughout the applicator, and we go straight onto the leather. Now with this product, it's not as much of a dressing, but a restoration product. So as I use this premium foam applicator, I'm actually massaging the oil into the leather. I'm trying to penetrate the pores of this leather, and you can already see, I know you can see on the camera, the difference that we're making here with the oil. Okay, so using this, I'm trying to massage this in. This has very, very soft Napa leather, okay? Premium leather here. So this is something with soft leather like this, as Adam would say, ages in dog years, okay? So caring for this type of leather, I mean, really caring for any kind of leather is very important, but something like this, high-end Napa leather, something you wanna do more consistent. Now, people will be asking, how often should you be restoring the moisture back into the leather or using the leather rejuvenation oil? Well, that's all dependent on the exposure to UV rays and, extreme heat. If your car is parked outside day and night, it's exposed to the UV sun constantly, the UV rays constantly, you need to do this more often, okay? Even if you park your car in a garage, but you drive to work and you park outside, still need to do it often. Your leather interior is gonna act like your skin, okay? If you don't add moisture to your skin, it cracks. Your hands crack, right? If you don't add moisture to them. On a lot of leather cars, you'll see paneling start to happen, cracking in the leather, okay? If you treat this consistently with the oil and the conditioner, that's not gonna happen as much. The leather's gonna flex when you get in and out of the car, and it will prevent the paneling happening as often, And here's the problem with paneling. Once it panels and dirt gets inside of there, now the paneling rubs together, the leather rubs together, and now it creates a much worse problem. Okay, something that you can't reverse, something that you can't fix with an Adams Polishes product. So staying up with this consistently, adding moisture to your leather interior is gonna keep your interior looking better for a longer period of time. You gotta remember, you're using oil here. So the clothes you wear, they can get stained with the oil. So be very conscious of that. Make sure you wear something that if you get oil on it, you're okay with that. Now, the other thing is the leather rejuvenation, or the way it acts, is if you give it time, it will continue to penetrate the leather surface. It will go into the pores more, okay? So what I like to do is I like to add one layer to the seat or the surface I'm working on. I'll let it set. I'll give it an hour or so. The leather surface will drink in that moisture. Come back, add another layer to it. Once you get to a point where there's still somewhat of sheen on there, you take a edgeless utility towel, you wipe it down, and then you're ready to go. Now, if your dash is leather, like it is in this car, this is very important, okay? The leather rejuvenation oil is gonna restore that moisture into the dash that just gets beat on. It gets bombarded with UV rays all the time. Now, if you have a vinyl or plastic dash, this oil is not the right option because it's not going to drink in or the oil is not going to penetrate the vinyl. What you do want to use is the Adams Polishes leather conditioner. Now, this is going to protect it from the UV rays. It has SPF properties to it. So if your dash is vinyl, it's more plastic feeling, the Adams Polishes leather conditioner is the right option for you. But in this case, this is nice leather. So the oil, actually, it's really interesting. As I put this on, it's drinking the oil in instantly. So I'm sure that the dash being exposed to the UV rays consistently is actually needs to be moisturized more than probably any other surface on the car. So I'll put one treatment here like this. We'll let it sit for a few minutes, probably let it sit for even just 15 minutes on this surface. And I'll come back, add another treatment to it. Now, after you've done the leather rejuvenation treatment and you've let it set for 20, 30 minutes to allow it to penetrate the pores of the leather, you're gonna come back with a clean edgeless utility towel and we're gonna knock this down, okay? You're gonna notice that with the oil, it's gonna look somewhat splotchy. And the other thing about leather seats is they use different types of leather. There's different types of leather where you sit versus where the bolsters are. And the oil is gonna react different with different kinds of leather, or even different thicknesses of leather. So you take your edgeless utility towel, you come through and you wipe it down, and what you're gonna notice is not only is the moisture restored, but the richness and color of the leather. As you wipe this down, you're gonna knock down the sheen from that oil. You're just, essentially what you're doing is you're removing that top layer of excess oil that's not penetrating into the leather seat, and it's bringing it back to that factory finish. Any surface that you treat with the leather rejuvenation oil, you're gonna knock it down with the edgeless utility towel. And again, the oil isn't gonna go on super even because this is a moisture restoration type of product. So you wanna wipe that top layer of oil off the top surface. Now, you'll be able to notice I haven't treated the seat that I'm sitting in. So once I get out, you see a nice before and after of the driver's seat versus the passenger seat. Adam's gonna talk about leather conditioner and give you kind of an overview of when you should use it, how often you should use it, and how it's different than doing a treatment with the leather rejuvenation oil.
Joe showed us how to replenish the oil back into these seats. Now, once you've maintained that nice supple feel to your leather, now we're talking about a maintenance product, and that's conditioning. And the Adams Polishes leather conditioner, this is the product that you use to do about once a month to make sure that you maintain moisture on a car that sees a lot of UV. Again, if you park your car inside day and night, you can do it less often. First, thoroughly clean your leather, okay? Make sure you thoroughly clean it. Then, take our little interior hex grip applicator and you spray directly into it, the leather conditioner. I like to go ahead and squeeze this thing together. That gets it all nicely spread throughout the sponge. And then I'm gonna go ahead and do one little panel at a time. So I'm doing the left bottom bolster first. I wanna be very thorough. I like to start one little section and complete it. This way I know I didn't miss anything. Perfect, now I'll do the bottom seat, the very first panel of the bottom seat cushion, all the way around. And then I'll go ahead and do the second. I can see it starting to get thin. In other words, the conditioner is not lying down as consistently as it was earlier. A couple more sprays, boom, boom. Also, the thing I love about the leather conditioner, it cannot be overused. If you're ever worried, oh, I'm using too much leather conditioner. No, you're not. Keep going. You're not gonna overuse leather conditioner. It's not like something that you can suddenly end up getting on your clothes or something. When you're done conditioning your leather, take a minute and take a look and just see what you probably missed. And if it's really thirsty, if your leather's really, really drinking it in, don't be afraid to hit it with a second round. It's gonna be just great. And again, remember, you can't overuse the leather conditioner. It is a product that looks great and it does not transfer to your clothes. It may look a tiny bit glossy right after you put it on. And as it dries, it goes to a total satin or matte finish, right? So they'll be like, oh my gosh, it's all glossy. Give it a few seconds. It won't be for long. It really tends to fade down to a nice, even satin when it's done. You can do all of the plastics in the leather conditioner as well. Like around the radio, consider the dashboard, the door panels, all the plastics. The plastics will also receive the leather conditioner quite well. You want to go ahead and do your steering wheel. You'll like it on the steering wheel. Unlike some dressings that can make it slippery, obviously this one will not. So after finishing this seat, I've noticed that there's still a tiny bit too much sheen to it. Maybe it's because we just used the rejuvenation oil and then the leather conditioner right on top of each other. But if you want to knock down that sheen just a bit, the microfiber utility towel is the one to use. Just take a real quick and light wipe over the leather. Oh yes. And that just knocks the sheen down just enough so that it looks more like a factory finish and not like something that's been recently dressed. This segment was all about leather care 101. All the basics, how to rejuvenate it, but you notice what I didn't say? I didn't say leather car interiors. I didn't say leather truck interiors. I'm talking about anything leather in your world, okay? I mean, I use this on my leather boots. The same process works whether you're doing a leather sofa, a leather car seat, a leather steering wheel, it doesn't matter. Rejuvenating dry leather is really important. When you think about really dry leather, think about the leather rejuvenation oil. It is fantastic. Now, when you think about regular maintenance, think about the leather conditioner. If it's dirty, you use a cleaner. If it's really nasty, the leather and interior cleaner. For maintenance cleaning, the total interior cleaner. Now, the number one maintenance product to me, for sure the interior detailer, but the process, you don't use one thing for everything, right? Do you use toothbrush and toothpaste to clean your ears? No. There's a something for everything, and in this interior lineup, there's a product for every single condition of leather, and then to maintain that condition and keep it going. So once you get it excellent, here's the process for keeping your leather perfect no matter where it is in your world.